Now, when it comes to the types of customers that would be interested in buying strapping material, I always was under the impression it'd be just manufacturing or warehousing, but there's actually a lot more applications that actually use strapping material on a regular basis. Please tell us a little bit more about these types of customers that would buy your products.
Sure. So if anybody moves a product as a good in transit is the best way I look at it. You will have a need for strapping, or you could have a need for strapping. I was just at a customer yesterday where they are moving a lot of product and they're doing a tremendous amount of stretch film work. Um, I politely mentioned to them that you're probably spending 3 to 4 times the amount of stretch film that you ever should for what you're moving. And you can get away with a much more cost-effective alternative with polypropylene or possibly polyester strapping, because they're just moving the good in transit and they're not moving it very far. And all they're doing is securing boxes on their loads. And they're using a lot of stretch film that's just a lot more plastic waste than anything else. But that's really the way I look at it, is if you're moving any product in any industry, you have a need or could have a need for strapping. We've highlighted a couple here into the manufacturing world. The automotive market is a great spot to look at. Any automotive customer, a tier supplier in the automotive chain, if you're a tier 3, tier 4, going all the way up to, supplying product right into Ford or GM as an example. All of those products are going to move into some fashion, and they're going to need to be secured before they get to the just-in-time inventory location at the automotive plant. In the food and beverage market, similarly, great applications in moving fruit and produce. We see a tremendous amount of work in the food distribution market, where most commonly you will see not just vertical strapping used, but also horizontal strapping used, normally applied with some form of equipment, whether that be a tool, a battery-powered tool, or if in fact they're using a horizontal or a vertical pallet strapping technology. In the government military sector, the Postal Service and the aligned Federal Express, UPS, DHL, all of those groups have some form of work they're doing to package out loads in some fashion. Military bases, supply depots, again, also they're always moving product, whether they're drums of fuel of some sort, or they're actual resupply and stocks for the aircraft or the tanks and jeeps that they have to keep in service. As you can see, healthcare. We talk about this in the general term, but in pharmaceuticals, you're moving all sorts of drugs, or drugs in a vial as a great example, or in fact, if you're moving any sort of sensitive medical equipment. We were actually very involved in certain areas when the COVID lockdowns hit. We were a business that were still fully functional during that time, and one of the big areas that we saw a little bit of pickup is requirement for securing loads for COVID vaccines and for ventilators. And that was one of the things that we highlighted, that, we didn't want to be a reason why a customer was shut down because they couldn't get strapped to secure their ventilator that was urgently needed at the time, back in the early days of March and April, when COVID were really starting to hit in 2020. Institutional laundry is another area, whether that be, sheets or support for the hotel industry, or linens for a restaurant industry. Uniforms and anybody in that sort of world is another area there. And we kind of link that or align that to healthcare. But, hospitals they use quite a bit of linens. So you can imagine where the value is there to bundle those items. And then, of course, construction and materials, lumber, hardware, paper, brick plants, block plants, steel locations, a lot of those types of construction and materials-based supply world. They all need those loads secured interimly on top of being secured to the flatbed truck. Typically, the bundle has to be secured as well. And that's where strap has a great opportunity to move.